Hello and welcome to Scalemodeling, and this is part 4 of the Bandai X-Wing build. And as you can see in front of you, I've got the 1/44 scale one here, which is the smaller of the two, and I've done all the weathering on it as much as I want to do anyway. Pretty happy with the way it's coming out. So I'll explain what I've done. The exhaust thrusters on the back here, I gave them a coat of aluminium, Tamiya aluminium color, and I put that on like a wash. So I just brushed that on, thinned right out, and then to get the marks on there for the exhaust, I just use soot from the Tamiya weathering kit, and that's from one of these here. So that's the weathering kit, and I use the soot color in the middle there, Weathering Master. I also used the soot on the wings just to create some streaks, and I also painted the aluminium on the grill, so there's a bit of a grill on each side at the top of the wings here. The cockpit is complete decal, nothing painted there. That went on really well. All the decals went on well. So yeah, it's close those wings up. Yeah, so at the back there, I've put a little bit of panel line just to accentuate the detail inside there. Get that to focus properly. Yeah. And also in the top of the aircraft there, you can see the panel line marker just made things a little bit darker. Put a bit of a brown in there as well. Not that I guess these spaceships rust at all, but I guess it's part of the exhaust. So yeah, there it is. Pretty happy with that. Now for the base, this come out quite well, quite good as well. So I wanted to get like the desert look like when it was flying across the planet. So there it is there. Get that color right. It looks a bit too orangey, but it's a little bit darker than that. Trying to just see. Yeah, the color's not bad. So I've done that in the weathering kit again, using the rust. And then I used a bit of a brown wash. I just did that all the way across. And then the bracket itself, I did that in the aluminium. And yeah, that's how that's going to go. And then I'll put the aircraft. Well, I haven't even put that on here yet, but will eventually sit up on there like that. Let's have a pull back a bit and have a look at that. There you go. Not bad. So that's my 1/44 scale X-Wing. Now we've got to go and continue the larger 172, which is sitting over here. There it is. Well, the wings are anyway. So we're going to start putting the fuselage together now on this, and then hopefully get it looking something like this. All right. Okay, so back shortly, and we'll get started on the larger scale model. Cheers. Hello, welcome back. And So I had a quick look through the instructions and what I have to do. First thing is working on the cockpit, and I need to paint this separately because I want to do some nice detail work, because there's some really nice, have a look in here, that got pipes on the back there, a lot of detail in there, and even the seat itself, it's going to be nice to get that looking good. So I'm going to undercoat all these in the black primer like I did with the other one. There's also a gear shifter there, so I'll be able to touch that up nicely. So I'll be doing that. I will take this apart, and because this needs to be primed, and I'll have these two wings separate, then I'll prime it all in the black primer. And then what I'll do is I'll choose what grey I'm going to use for the cockpit, and I'll give that a coat of grey, and then we'll get in there and do the detail around the cockpit. There's also some decals that go in there for the gauges and so forth on the cockpit. So yeah, because this piece will eventually sit in, well, this will go over the top of it. So that will sit over the top of that, which covers all that side, although there will be pieces to go on the side of it. So this will be the colour of the ship, and that will all be pre-painted. So I'll have all this painted before it pops over the top of this, and that way it's all done inside there. That's the base, that's the bottom of the fuselage, and that's where that will sit down on top of that. Sort of figuring it out. There's some clear plastic for the canopy there. Don't have to worry about that yet by the instructions. So okay, I'm going to go and undercoat these, and we'll come back and have a look. Back soon. Okay, so we're back, and the undercoating is done, and there's quite a lot of dramas with my airbrush. Trying to get the paint out of it. But fortunately I threw up a quick video asking for some help on why the paint's not coming out of my airbrush, and got a few replies and a few answers to the question, and I ended up, because I'm using Stynel res, and I was thinning it with a Vallejo thinner, and it turns out that was the mistake. So I popped some in the airbrush without any thinner. It sprayed perfectly. So fantastic. Now, I'd already painted these parts, so these were the ones where I was having trouble, but I'm not too concerned because it's only the undercoat and there is a coverage. That's all that really matters. As you can see, this, see if I can get a good view. So that's the cockpit there, and it's going to be looking good. I'm going to make all of this insignia white, the base color, except for the seat and the gear stick, because they're going to be done a grey. I've got a light grey for those, which is what the cockpit will be as well. So after that's been painted, I don't know if I'll need to mask it off, but I'll use something like a bit of cardboard or something and block it while I paint that grey inside there. And then there'll be all the little detail bits of all the pipes and stuff running through. So that's what I'll be doing next. And then coming to these, this is all ready to go. I'll be hitting this with the Insignia white, and then I'll both of those actually, and then joining those back, clipping those back in together, and yeah, that's it. That's all I've got to do there. Then coming back to the instructions, we're on to step 4, and that's basically the cockpit. So it'll be working around this cockpit area, getting that grey on there, in there, and the seat in place, the gear stick shifter in place. Yeah, and that should be that. So I'll go and paint these, and we'll come back and we'll have a look and see how they're going. Back in a second. Okay, welcome back. I've got some stuff drying in there that's painted, and I thought, well, not much I can do while it's drying, so I'll get on to something else, and I've decided to paint up a little pilot. So I got some colours here, and we got him here. Probably a bit too small to focus for the camera. I'll try, but we'll put some pictures up and be able to see better, I think. So what I've done is I gave him a primer coat, just white, and then I made up some orange. I didn't have orange paint, so I had some red and yellow. And I made up some orange, you see in here, and this is for his suit. This wet palette I make is simply just a piece of baking paper, greaseproof paper. There's a paper towel under there with a bit of water in it, and that keeps it nice in there like that. When I put the lid on that's fine for a few days. So then I used some black for his boots, which was the flat black for the boots and the gloves. And then I used some grey, which was just a normal grey for part of the seat belts he's wearing. And silver is the aluminium, flat aluminium for the pack in front of him. And there's a couple of little black dots on that. I coloured a couple of pieces. You've got a chin strap underneath that's black under his helmet. For his face I used, not that, I used this one, which is a flat flesh colour, XF15. And that came up really good, so his face looks really nice colour. And the visor, there's actually decals for this for him, and I looked at the visor one and it looks too big, so I figured, oh, I won't worry. So I have some gold leaf, and I ended up using that on the visor. It looks fine. And there's a few other decals for the helmet. It looks like there's 2 little black ones that'll go on either side around where his ears are, and then there's 2 little logos that will go. If we look in the instructions here, you'll be able to see. So he's got 2 little logos. Get that without the glare. Yeah, that'll go on the side of their helmet there as well, on both sides. So yeah, I think I've got him coming up looking pretty good. First time I've ever in my life painted a figure, so I'm pretty much happy and smiling with the result of that so far. And then we've got to do the R2 in the back there. So he looks like he's got a bit of gold colour, some silver. He has some decals as well. So I'll give him a paint next, and we'll have a look at some pictures of him up there as well. Okay, so back shortly. Hey, hello, welcome back. And, as you can see, the bench is a bit crowded at the moment. Got quite a bit going on, but I'll show you what we're up to. First of all, the wings themselves have been painted. There, the final coat's done on them. Look at that. That's come up really nice. And it was funny because when I went there to paint them, I noticed that one of these was missing. And I thought, oh no, where's it gone? And I quickly looked around the floor thinking, oh, it's just fallen off. Couldn't find it. So I thought I'll go back to my previous video and see when I was last on here. So I went back, looked at the previous video, and the one that showed it in the undercoat in black, it was missing. I thought, oh, wow. So when I went back, looked at the instructions, then went to the sprue, I realized that I hadn't even made that piece. I don't know how I got distracted. I made all the other three except the fourth one, and then I gone ahead and painted and not realized. So quickly made that up, primed it and painted it, and it's back on. So yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, how I missed a complete piece like that. Now the our pilot's in his cockpit. I've done the cockpit. I've done a bit of detail in there. Pretty good. So it's all good. The red part is red plastic. The plastic is already red. What I've decided to do to make it a little bit easier is I'm going to paint that, probably hand paint them after everything's together. And it's very pretty because this canopy has got to go on, and then there's a top section and a lower section under here as well. So it's pretty awkward to paint. They're going to be red anyway, but I'll hand paint those. I've also got the back there's all painted. The next lot of parts I've got are these ones here, which are part of the fuselage. That's on the back. This is the nose cone. That top engine section goes on the top of there, which makes me wonder why they've got all that detail underneath when you're not going to see it. Although it does slide on, so I guess you can slide it off if you wanted to show that. Anyway, we'll see. So that's there. There's a couple of panels that will go on the side of the fuselage, which is in the other room, with its base coat insignia white on it, drying, so that's good. Now I'm doing the laser cannons, the 4 of those for each wing, one on each of course. So I'm going to take these off now, and then I'll be painting them with these pieces. So that'll clip on there using my handy little alligator clips. So I'll get the other 3 of them off this sprue and go ahead and paint. I'll undercoat those first, and then after that's dried, give them a main coat. All right, so then we'll be fitting some pieces. That main fuselage will get connected onto the wings, and we'll go from there. I'm on to step. It's sort of, I've had to chop and change a bit, so we're still doing step 4, but I had to jump ahead to do the pilot so I could fit him in there, because what I'm going to have to do also is, once the canopy's on, tape it all up so I can paint around here and not get any paint where it shouldn't be. There's a few little white pieces on there that still need to be done. So it's an awkward build, particularly since I've never done one of these before. It's quite different. In getting the order of the build process sorted out is quite challenging. Anyway, we'll call this a video here. We'll end this part here. So part 4, we'll come back and have a look at the fuselage will be fitted then, and there'll probably be a few more little bits to paint, and then we'll go on to see what's to be done with there's landing gear or flaps, and I think that's optional to have the landing gear. I haven't looked that far ahead yet, but we'll go into that. And then of course the stand have to be worked on, but we'll see. So, okay, thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up if you like my video, and please comment below if you've got any comments, questions, suggestions, tips, whatever you want. And I'll see you in the next part 4, I think it will be. Let me just check. Where am I? We're on part 4, so it'll be part 5, okay? So, here's till then. Bye for now.